Hello my dear students. So welcome back to the next session of solving simple problems on quadratic equation. So today we are going to start with exercise 6C. Okay, and here we are going to make use of the formula which you have already seen in your physics or in your maths as well. Okay, so we are going to make use of speed equals to distance by time and time equals to distance by speed formula here. Okay, so let's begin with the first problem. So in this question says the speed of an ordinary train is x kilometer per hour and that of an express is x plus 25 kilometer per hour. Okay, so you need to find the time taken by each train to cover 300 kilometer. So this is your first question which is asked, and the second question is, if the ordinary takes 2 hours more than the express train, calculate the speed of the express train. So let's begin with the first question. So you need to first find the time taken by each train to cover a distance of 300 kilometers. So here distance is given to be 300 kilometer, right? And for ordinary train, speed is given to be x kilometer per hour, and for express it is given to be x plus 25 kilometer per hour. Okay, so let's begin the problem. So first problem says distance equals to 300 kilometer, right? And we know that time is given by distance by speed. Okay, now let's see the time taken by ordinary train to cover 300 kilometer. Now we know that for ordinary train, okay, for ordinary train distance to be covered is 300 kilometer, right? And what is the speed of ordinary train? It is given to be x, right? So that's why my time is going to be distance, that is 300 by speed. And what is the speed? Speed is x. So that's why it will be 300 by x hours. Okay, since the speed is calculated in kilometer per hour, okay, so hence the time is going to be in hours. Is that clear? Okay, so this is the speed, this is the time taken by the ordinary train. Now let's go to the express train. Okay, so for express train, my speed is x plus 25 kilometer per hour and the distance is this much. So that's why my time taken by the express train will be 300 by speed, that is x plus 25. Fine. Okay, so these are the answers for our first part. Now let's go to the second part. Now the question says the ordinary train takes 2 hours more than the express train, and we know that from the speed given here, express train is moving with greater speed. This is with plus 25 speed. Okay, so that's why express train will cover this distance earlier, right? And the express train is taking 2 hours less time. Okay, so if express train is taking 10 hours to complete a journey, then ordinary train, which moves a bit slower, takes 12 hours to complete the journey. That's what is the meaning. Okay, that means the time taken by the ordinary train, that is this one, will be more than the time taken by the express train. Yes, because the ordinary train is moving with lower speed. Okay, so that's why this is always greater than this part. Okay, so that's why if I subtract or if I find the difference between the time, it has to be 2 hours. Okay, so that's why the greater time is this one. So 300 divided by x minus 300 divided by x plus 25 has to be equals to 2 hours according to the question. Okay, so after this you arrive at this particular quadratic equation. Okay, and when you solve it, you will find that the value of x will be minus 75 and 50. And since x is what? X is the speed, so x cannot be negative, right? So that's why the value for x will be 50. So the speed of the express train, because the question is asking calculate the speed of the express train, and the speed of the express train is given to be x plus 25, and what is x? X is 50, so 50 plus 25 gives me 75 kilometer per hour. Okay, so pause the video to note down. Question number 2. If the speed of a car is increased by 10 kilometer per hour, it takes 18 minutes less time to cover a distance of 36 kilometer. So you need to find the speed of the car. Okay, so let's try to understand the case. So there's a car who is moving with some speed. Okay, and if he increases the speed by 10 kilometer per hour, obviously he'll take less time to cover the distance, right? Suppose if I want to travel from Darjeeling to Siliguri, then if I'm moving with suppose 50 kilometer per hour speed, okay, let's assume that I'm taking 3 hours time with 50 kilometer per hour speed. Now if I increase the speed, then obviously it will take less time to reach for me to Siliguri, right? So the same thing is happening here as well. So there's a car who is moving with some speed. So let me call the speed of the car to be x kilometer per hour. Okay, now the speed is increased. Okay, speed is increased and it is increased by 10 kilometer per hour. So that's why if it was x earlier, then later on it's going to be x plus 10 kilometer per hour. Okay, so the distance is also given here, which is 36 kilometer, right? So we need to cover 36 kilometer of distance. Okay, and the difference between the time is going to be 18 minutes. Okay, so that's all you need to know. So we have speed of the car to be x kilometer per hour, so distance to be covered is 36 kilometer. Now time taken to cover a distance of 36 kilometer. So time is given by distance by speed, right? And what is distance? Distance is 36 kilometer, right? And what is speed? It is x kilometer per hour. So that's why it's going to be 36 by x hours. Okay, now the new speed of the car after being increased is going to be x plus 10, as I said earlier, and again the distance to cover is 36 kilometer. So the new time taken by car will be distance by speed, and distance is again 36 and speed is going to be x plus 10. So it's going to be 36 by x plus 10 hours. Is that clear? And obviously since the car is moving with greater speed here, this time is going to be smaller, right? So that's why the difference between these two, okay, that is 36 by x minus this is going to be 18 minutes, right? So we can call it 18 minutes because the times are given here in hours. So that's why we need to convert this 18 also into hours, okay? And minutes can be converted into hours by dividing it by 60. Okay, so that's why the difference between these two is going to be 18 by 60. Okay, so from the given information we are going to have this much. So arrive at this quadratic equation, solve it. So your values for x are going to be minus 40 and 30. So as usual, x is the speed, x denotes the speed, so it cannot be negative. So that's why the speed of the car has to be 30 kilometer per hour. Okay, so pause the video to note down. So let's see this question. So we have, if the speed of an airplane is reduced, so again it's the same kind of question. So this time the speed is reduced, okay, and it takes 20 minutes more to cover a distance of 1200 kilometers. So find the speed of the aeroplane. Okay, so you will try this problem by yourself, or else you can take this much of hint, okay, and you can proceed from here. So pause the video to note down the hint. The next sum is also similar one. So this also you try by yourself. Okay, so this time I'm not giving any hint here. So you try this by yourself. Let's go to the next question. So question says, a girl goes to her friend's house which is at a distance of 12 kilometers. Now a girl has to cover a distance of 12 kilometers here, and she covers half of the distance at x kilometer per hour. So that means half of the distance means half of 12 kilometer, which is 6 kilometer. That means the first 6 kilometer is being covered by the speed of x kilometer per hour, and the remaining distance at a speed of x plus 2 kilometer per hour. That means the speed is increased in the next half. If she takes 2 hours 30 minutes to cover the whole distance, find the value of x. Okay, so let's begin. our question. So here what is given? Distance is given, okay, and here we have been given two speeds, okay, and since there are two speeds given, there are two distances being covered by these two speeds, okay. So for the first half, okay, so the girl covers a distance of 6 kilometer, because she covers half of the distance, that is half of the distance is 6 kilometer by the speed x kilometer per hour, okay. So what is given? Distance is given, speed is given. So can we find the time taken by the girl to cover first 6 kilometer? Yes, definitely. So the time is given by distance by speed, and distance is 6 and speed is x. So this much time will be taken by the girl to cover the half of the distance by the speed of x kilometer per hour. Okay, now similarly the girl covers the remaining 6 kilometer distance by the speed of x plus 2 kilometer per hour according to the question. So similarly the time taken to cover the next 6 kilometer will be again distance by speed, and this time distance is again 6 kilometer and speed this time is x plus 2. Is that clear? Now this is the time taken by the girl to cover half distance, and the next half distance is covered in this time. So that means if I add these two time, this will give me the total time to cover a distance of 12 kilometer, which is given to be 2 hours 30 minutes, right? So since we are working with hours, we will try to convert this minutes also into hours. Okay, so if I do that, then 2 hours 30 minutes can be written as 2.5 hours, which can be written as 5 by 2 hours. Okay, so according to the question, when these two are added, I'll get this much. So arrive at this quadratic equation. So you are not going to copy it how it is given over here. Okay, so you have to work out and see whether you are really getting this or not. Is that clear? Okay, so from here you will solve it and find the value of x. So from here the value of x are turning to be this much and this much, and since this is a negative one, okay, so this cannot be our answer. So the value for x is going to be 4. Okay, so you can pause the video to note down. Question number 6. A car made a run of 390 kilometer in x hours. Okay, so this time we are not given the speed. Instead, this x represents your time. So a car is made run for 390 kilometer, and to cover 390 kilometer it is taking distance, it is taking a time of x hours, right? Okay, let's go to the next part. If the speed had been 4 kilometer per hour more, so this time speed is increased. Okay, so it would have taken 2 hours less for the journey. So you need to find the value of x given here. Okay, so let's begin. Now, since we don't know the speed in the beginning, and since in the next case speed is increased, okay, so let me take the initial speed, the first speed, to be y here. Okay, because we have been given x here, so we cannot use x again. So let me take the speed of the car to be y kilometer per hour. Okay, so if this is the case, if y kilometer per hour is the speed and this is the distance, then to cover 390 kilometer, the time will be given by distance by speed. That is, distance is 390 and 390 by time, 390 by speed. Speed is y. So 390 by y gives me the time to cover 390 kilometer with the speed of y. But we know that the time to cover this much with this speed is given to be x. So that's why this x has to be nothing but 390 by y. Is that clear? Okay. Now the new speed of the car. See, earlier speed was y kilometer per hour. Now the speed has been increased by 4. So that's why it's going to be y plus 4 kilometer per hour. Okay. Now in this case, let's see what will be the time taken. So the time taken is given by distance by speed. So distance is 390 and the speed is y plus 4. Okay, so obviously this time is less, right? Because speed is more, that's why time is going to be less. So that's why the difference between these two, this is more time and this is less time. So that means this minus this will be the 2 hours, right? So from the given information we are going to have 390 by y minus 390 by y plus 4 is going to be 2. So arrive at this quadratic equation, solve it, you will get the value of y to be minus 30 and 26. Obviously minus 30 will not be the value for y, so the value for y will be 26. So if the value for y is 26, we are asked to find the value of x, and we can find the value of x from here. Just put the value of y to be 26, you'll get the value of x. Okay, so we know that x equals to 390 by y, so 390 by y is 26. So if you do the division, you'll get 15. So the value of x is 15. So pause the video to note down. Okay, so the question looks quite long this time, so let's read it. A goods train leaves a station at 6 p.m. followed by an express train. So there are two kinds of train here. One is goods train and another one is express train. Okay, so the goods train is leaving the station at 6 p.m. Okay, and the same station is being followed by express train, which leaves the same station at 8 p.m. Okay, so exactly after 2 hours express train is leaving, okay, and travels 20 kilometer per hour faster than the goods train. So that means the speed of express train is more compared to the goods train by 20 kilometer per hour. Okay, the express train travels at a station 1040 kilometer away, 36 minutes before the goods train. Okay, so basically both are going towards the same destination. Okay, and there's a particular station which is lying at a distance of 1040 kilometer. Okay, and here what is happening? Here the express train is reaching earlier to that station by 36 minutes. Okay, so assuming that the speeds of the both train remain constant between the two stations, we need to calculate their speeds. Hope the problem is clear to you. So let's begin. So let me call the speed of the goods train to be x kilometer per hour. Okay, then what will be the speed covered by the express train? It's going to be 20 more, so that's why it's going to be x plus 20. Okay, so it's going to be x plus 20 kilometer per hour. Okay, now the distance to be covered is this much. So again, the time taken by the goods train to cover a distance of 1040 kilometer is going to be distance by speed, and for goods train distance to be covered is this much. So distance by speed gives me 1040 in the numerator, and in the denominator we are going to have the speed of the goods train, which is x. So it's going to be these many hours. Is that clear? So let's go to the next case, that is time taken by the express train to cover a distance of this much. So it's going to be how much? It's going to be obviously 1040 by x plus 20. That is, in the denominator it is the speed of express train. Okay, so these are the two cases. Now according to the question, it is given that the express train arrives at the station 36 minutes before the goods train. So that we have already understood. Now also the train leaves the station 2 hours after the goods train. This is also mentioned here because goods train is leaving at 6 and express train is leaving at 8. So this is also clear to us. So this means that the express train arrives the station these many hours before the goods train. Suppose, let us imagine that both of them are starting at the same time. Okay, if both of them starts at the same time, then obviously the express train will take 36 minutes, that's already there, plus the 2 hours which is compensated if they are walking together. Okay, so it's going to be these many hours, that is, since this is given in minutes, so if I convert this into hours, so it will be 36 by 60, right, plus 2 hours, because express is running or starting 2 hours later, so that's why it has to be plus 2 hours. So these many hours will be the difference between the time. Okay, so that's why, since express is moving with more So that's why we have this minus this is going to be this much. Is that clear? So let me explain once again. The distance or the speed of the express train is more, so that's why this time is going to be less, right? And this time is going to be more because the goods train is walking or running with lower speed. So this time is more and this time is less, so the difference between these two is going to be 13/5 hours. So arrive at this quadratic equation and you will complete it by yourself. So pause the video to note down. So from question number 8 onwards, you are going to see the questions on profit and loss. Okay, so let's see the first question. A man bought an article for rupees X. So this will be rupees X will be my cost price, and sold it for rupees 16. That means this is my SP, that is selling price. If his loss was X%, so loss percentage is given to be X%, find the cost price of the article. Okay, so basically they're asking us find the value of X. So let's begin. So let's the cost price to be rupees X, it is already given. So selling price is also given to be 16 and loss percent is also given to be X%. And since it is given to be loss, okay, loss percent, so that's why loss will be calculated by CP minus SP, right? That is the formula. And what is CP? CP is X, and what is SP? SP is 16. So that's why my loss is X minus 16. And we know that loss percent is calculated using this formula. Now what is the value of loss percent? It is given to be X. What is loss? Loss is X minus 16. What is CP? CP is X, and we'll put the values in order to get this one. Okay, so arrive at this quadratic equation and solve for X. So the values for X are going to be 80 and 20. So the cost price of the article has to be either 20 or 80. Since both are positive, so that's why both can be my answer. Is that clear? Okay, so pause the video to note down. In the next one, a trader bought an article for rupees X. So that means it is bought means it is cost price. So CP is given to be X, and sold it for rupees 52. So CP is X, SP is 52. But this time we are having a profit, and we calculate profit using SP minus CP. Okay, so SP is 52 and CP is X, so 52 minus X gives me the profit. Okay, and profit percent is given to be X%, and we know the profit percent is calculated using this. And what is the formula? What is the value of profit percent? Is X minus 10, right? So what is profit? Profit is 52 minus X. What is CP? CP is X. So you'll get this much and arrive at the quadratic equation given by this, and you will complete it by yourself. So let's go to the last question for the day. So by selling a chair for rupees 75, so this is the selling price given here, Mohan gained as much percent as its cost. So this time also what is happening? There's a gain happening here. Okay, and whatever is the cost price, the same percentage of gaining is happening here. Suppose if it is 10 rupees 10 to be the cost price, then percentage or profit percent is also 10%. Okay, that's what is the meaning of this line. Okay, so if I take cost price to be X, then my gain percent is also going to be X. Okay, so let the cost price of the chair be X, selling price is given to be this much, and since what is happening here we are having profit, so profit is calculated using SP minus CP. Okay, so we have SP minus CP, that is 75 minus X, so this gives me the profit. Now we know that profit percent is given by this. What is profit percent? Profit percent will be same as its cost, that is it's going to be X. What is profit? Profit is 75 minus X. And what is CP? CP is also X. Okay, so put the values and arrive at this quadratic equation, solve it, and you will complete it by yourself. Okay, so with this we close this particular exercise. So it's your job to complete the steps which are not done in the middle. Okay, and you will submit the assignment to me. Thank you very much.